Guys, there are spoilers for this film and this review. So if you don't want to be bad, go watch film, then come back. You have been warned. Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron HD. So yeah, this is going to be a great time. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron HD. This week we watched... It's really small. Michael. The new Michael Jackson biopic, directed by Antoine Fuqua, starring Jafaar Jackson, keeping it in the family. Which, this is his debut as an actor. And I will say this film was fine. I mean, it was a musical biopic. I think Jafaar Jackson was the highlights, especially, he was the highlight of the movie, just for how accurately he depicted Michael. He just, I mean, obviously him being related to Michael helps, him looking like him, but it just, it was really, I guess, surreal. It was really cool to see him play Michael on the big screen. But, before I go on a tangent, why I thought this film was alright, I'll tell you why, and more. Back to house.
I believe music can change the world. Spread love, joy, and peace. That is what I want the world to feel. Magic.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I am your host, Rodent Time HD, and this week we watched Michael, the new Michael Jackson biopic directed by Antoine Fuqua, starring Jafaar Jackson playing Michael Jackson, who is actually the nephew of Michael Jackson, the son of Jermaine Jackson, so keeping it in the family. And this film is also starring Nia Long, Colman, Domingo, and featuring Miles Teller, among other people, but I thought those were the most important names. Either way, I'm just going to jump right into it. I think this film, I was going to say it's complicated, but it really isn't. I think it's mostly just, a musical biopic. I think it doesn't really feel like that different from other musical biopics I've seen. I mean, I guess I'm a little surprised that it took this long for Michael Jackson to get a musical biopic. I mean, I think he is the biggest name in pop history. I don't really think that you can't really dispute that, right? So I'm surprised he didn't get one sooner. Maybe it was due to a myriad of different things, I don't know. But either way, I think that this film, there's a lot of, talk about it, and there's, a lot of talk with the critics and the audience. The critics really hate it, and the audiences really love it, and it's, two extremes, and I think I'm kind of in the middle, right? I don't really think this movie is the worst thing ever, like some of the critics seem to think. I don't think this movie's awful, but then there are, the fans calling it, the best biopic ever, or whatever. They're, giving it 10s, or, 5 out of 5, and it's I think you're overdoing it a little bit, right? I get people really like Michael Jackson. Even to this day, years after his death, people still love the shit out of Michael Jackson. And, I mean, his music is top tier. Love his music. But I just feel like this movie just... it was just fine. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit it or anything. It was a fine movie, and I like the director, Antoine Fuqua. He did the Equalizer movies, he did Training Day, he did King Arthur, he did The Replacement Killers with Cheyenne Fat. There's a number of his movies that I do enjoy. I actually do enjoy Antoine Fuqua quite a bit, and I think his directing was very solid. I think the main highlight of the film was Jafaar Jackson's performance as Michael Jackson. This being his debut as an actor, I think is very impressive. I think there were certain scenes where he just looked exactly like Michael. And I mean, as I said, obviously, him being the nephew of Michael Jackson kind of helps with the similarities in appearance, right? He's literally related to him. But I think it's just, really great how he really just embodied Michael. I think that's, really impressive. And I give my kudos to Jafaar Jackson. But I think, everything else, I did like Colman Domingo's performance as, as Michael's father, Joe Jackson, who notoriously was a piece of shit, right? He abused basically all of the Jackson Five. He abused Michael the most specifically. And he was just overall really selfish, and he really only wanted them to be famous so that he could reap the benefits, really. He says it's for his sons, but it isn't. He just wanted, to get out of Indiana and, get a bunch of money and live in a big mansion. Either way, I just think, though, I did like those aspects. I obviously thought that the, performance scenes, because this being a musical biopic, there are a lot of scenes of just, basically full Michael Jackson songs playing as Jafaar Jackson is, acting out live performances and stuff. Those were nice. If you're a huge Michael Jackson fan, that must be really cool, right? Seeing a guy who this guy who really looks like Michael Jackson, really moves like Michael Jackson, really has the mannerisms of Michael Jackson, doing his thing on the big screen. That's cool and all. And I like Michael Jackson's music, but I'm not, a mega fan or anything. I'm not, a fanboy, if that's a good term. I just enjoy some of his songs, right? Like a lot of people do. So I think, maybe I just don't have a deeper connection to this movie than other people would who are giving it, 8s and 9s and perfect ratings and raving about how great it is. I think it's mostly just, a bias thing, right? I think, obviously, if you're a huge fan of Michael Jackson, there's a lot to get out of this movie, right? I think you can get a lot of enjoyment out of this film if you're a big Michael Jackson fan. And I think even myself, as not a huge Michael Jackson fan, I did get some enjoyment out of it. But I think I have the main problem with it that I do with a lot of other biopics is that it's just it's most of the story I already know, right? There are some things that I didn't, because as I said, I didn't really look into Michael's life, I didn't really know his complete life story, but I knew the gist of it, right? I mean, I guess one thing I didn't know was while shooting a commercial, he set his head on fire and it really damaged his scalp. I did not know that. That is an infamous thing that happened. But maybe I had heard of it and I'd just forgotten it. It had been a long time ago, before I was born specifically, so couldn't exactly remember it. But I think in general, as I said, the thing with a lot of biopics is they're usually, and I don't mean to sound pretentious when I say this, they're usually really safe. And I'm not saying that they need to take risks and do a bunch of weird shit like the Doors biopic did. I'm not saying they need to do that, because that movie was controversial in of itself for the complete opposite reason, right? But I think that this film just if you are just, blank slate, you're indifferent, you don't hate Michael Jackson, you don't love Michael Jackson, you're just watching this movie for the movie itself. If you know a decent sum of Michael Jackson's story and you're going into the Michael Jackson movie just as indifferent, you're gonna get what you think you're gonna get, right? There's no surprises here. There's nothing that's really gonna wow you, as I said, except for Jafaar Jackson's exceptional performance as Michael Jackson, which I thought was, as I said, very impressive. But even though, yes, he is the main character, I just feel not that it wasn't enough. I don't know how to describe it. I just feel like this film, I walked out of it and I'm like, that was okay. And maybe that's fine for some people, but sometimes when I walk out of a movie, I want to be asking questions, or engaging with the movie in a deeper way. And I didn't really feel that. And obviously, as I said, I may sound a little pretentious here, but I'm just saying, even with biopics like this, there are things you can come out of it talking about. Maybe it offered questions about the artist or the person or whatever that maybe you hadn't asked before. Maybe, things that you had wondered about that you hadn't wondered about before. It can offer other, introspections into these people, and I feel like most of them just don't do that. And that's not a problem necessarily. It's mainly just a pet peeve with me, I guess, as this is my personal review. And I said this movie is good for what it is, right? It is a biopic, and I don't think that it's, going to, I guess, start riots. I mean, maybe it will. It's my you know, thing. I don't even know what that means. So I guess just to wrap that little discussion up here, I just think the movie didn't dig deep enough into Michael's life. What they showed us, we kind of already knew, and they didn't really show us anything that we didn't know, and I guess that was like my main gripe, or one of them. And with that being said, though, man, that's my overall thoughts in a nutshell, and would I recommend this movie? Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, if you like Michael Jackson, right? I've been saying if you like Michael Jackson, I mean, it's a fine enough biopic, and you'd probably get enjoyment out of it if you know his story and you just want to see it recited up until 1988 on the big silver screen. But as I said, I feel like this film was mainly just made for the big super fans of Michael Jackson, and that's usually who these biopics are made for anyway. So I guess if you love Michael Jackson, this movie's for you. And with that being said, I think I would rate this film like a, I don't know, like a 7 out of 10, I suppose. And, yeah, I think I've said what I say. I think I've said my piece. So, guys, I hope you like this video. Share it with your friends. Subscribe. Turn those notifications on. Comment down below on how much you liked it. But you guys know how it goes. I didn't really mean to say that. What I really meant to say is if you guys hated this video, unsubscribe, dislike it, tell me how much you hate me in the comments. And I've been Runtime HD, off to go on a world tour. So I was watching this movie, right? And the whole time I'm watching it, and it's like I'm listening to these songs, and I'm just looking at the screen, and like sometimes when they only recreated one of the music videos. I thought they were gonna recreate more, but when they recreated a Thriller, like I thought they were using real footage from Thriller for a second. It looked, maybe, that's a lie. I didn't, because it's a movie. They shot original footage. Basically, I'm just saying it as a compliment. It looked really good. Like, the makeup was perfect. The jacket was really good. I'm just saying, and also, like, the mannerisms were really good. I don't know. I guess just, like, a lot of the physical, like, appearance of the film looked really accurate, which I can appreciate. It was the dun dun like that, bing 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 like that.